Welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. Bhreanna Myers is with us, owner and founder of Light and Breezy Coaching. And you're an integrative healer. You do a lot of different things. You specialize in sound, energy, and quantum healing, which you're going to tell us all about. You're also an intuitive medium, a shaman, and we're going to learn so much and be able to explore a little bit of more of what you do and your journey and how you came to do this. So let's welcome. There's just the list goes on. So there's so much that that you do. But where did it all begin? Let's go back to the beginning. Where are you originally from? And bring us up to kind of how this took you into your journey, which there's some turning points and some things that kind of made this all happen. So, but let's go back to the beginning for a minute and get to know you and how this all started.
Again, thanks for having me. So I guess I can't really tell you where it began. I'm actually from Las Vegas originally. I was born on Nellis Air Force Base. So it's kind of fun to be able to bridge the gap here. But as far as where it began, I was always intuitive as a child. And I find that with a lot of the people I work with, we often have a level of psychic ability as a child that kind of gets worked out of us because we are trained to not believe in, magic essentially, and that it's all in our head, it's imagination. And so as we grow, we kind of lose that. And so for me, I used to have like an imaginary friend who, I was like very passionate about, and even my family would kind of tease me about her and things like that. And I'd get very, very emotionally upset. And then later on, and I'll kind of backpedal to where this all started, but she later came to me as one of my spirit guides and told me she had always been there all along. But she had to kind of step aside to let me get on the journey, because everything we go through, the good, the bad, there's really no good or bad. It's all a part of our process to get us to where we are, our soul wanted to go, if that kind of makes sense. So I guess I'll start in 2017. At the end of 2017, I had gone through a pretty big upheaval, and that started my spiritual awakening. It's when I started to realize the illusions and the things I had taken on that weren't necessarily my beliefs, or, the ego started to crumble, I guess we could say. But I didn't have a significant shift until 2020. And I had a near-death experience. It was in the heart of COVID. And if you guys remember, COVID was everything. Well, what had happened is I had gotten fungal pneumonia from wearing masks and breathing in. I was a farmer at that time, so I would do outdoor farmers markets in the middle of winter. I live here in Minnesota, so it's very cold in winter. So my nose would run, I'd breathe it in. And I ended up getting fungal pneumonia, went to the emergency room 3 separate times. They didn't test me for anything but COVID, like no chest x-ray or anything. And then I collapsed at my home and ended up in the ICU for 3 days. But in that time, I had a 6-minute death experience. And in that, I saw the quantum field. I saw sacred geometry, the web of life, I guess you could call it, is that everything's connected. There's no separation. And I saw how my entire life, everything connected. I watched how this had to happen. And I had come from a very troubled childhood. I did not have it easy. But I saw how like these all had to be dominoes to get me to that exact moment that I was at. And then I was told I was going to be coming back, and that I would be on the path that I am supposed to be on, which is a healer and a warrior, and to fight for the collective to help them in this awakening that we are going through. And I think your viewers, probably a lot of them know, we are at the precipice of something big. Something is going to shift massively in our society and in our collective. And so I'm here to help guide people in that.
That's beautifully put, because there's some people that are still searching and don't realize that they haven't been truly themselves
Mm-hmm.
yet. You brought up the point about, we embrace beliefs that aren't our own because we are sort of brainwashed
Mm-hmm.
in from different sources. I grew up in a highly
Oh yeah.
religious family, so it took a long time after becoming an adult to kind of be able to embrace my own spirituality and be able to discern and figure out which was mine and which wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
how, so that I could formulate my own thoughts and belief system and really know it was truly mine and how I felt.
Yeah.
And so the work that you do and your mission is helping people reach a higher consciousness and be more
Mm-hmm.
aware of self, from inner child work to shadow work, to being able to
Yep.
look at all of our parts and
Yes.
be able to know ourselves, because that's the root of reaching our full potential just as humans.
Yeah.
And explain, there's something interesting that you do. You talk about quantum healing in this experience, which is your major aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know really kind of brought that all to light, and you've seen everything interconnected, which it is. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're in this information age where now we have information at our fingertips. We
Yeah.
have so much that we have access to now, which is really exciting. This is an exciting time, it really is.
It
um,
is. It is. That's why a lot of us incarnated at this time.
all people must be is willing to
Yes.
learn and accept and embrace the knowledge. So explain to the audience, because a lot of folks don't understand the quantum healing and
Mm-hmm.
the quantum field, a little bit of the science of mind behind that. Can you just kind
Yeah.
of put that in a nutshell so people kind of understand where you're coming from in regards to the healing work that you do?
Yeah. I think the easiest way I've been able to find to describe quantum healing is that you're like a rushing nesting doll. Remember those things where there's a doll within a doll within a doll?
Mm-hmm.
And your physical body is just the inside of that doll, the little one, right? You have subtle bodies. You have your etheric body, your spiritual body, your mental body, and all of these are working simultaneously all at the same time. And that is all connected to the quantum field. There's different realities and parallel dimensions, realities all happening simultaneously. A good show of evidence of this is if you know anything about Dolores Cannon, who how I learned quantum healing hypnosis. Um, she talks about Nostradamus and her channeling Nostradamus through one of her clients, and he was alive and well in France as she's channeling him, which tells you that all time and everything is all happening at the same time. So that's how quantum healing works, is that we're channeling through all of the different time spaces and realities that your soul is connected to, and we channel back in different pieces and parts of your soul that we need to heal this physical body or even your emotional body. Another big one is, I work a lot with people that have done therapy. Therapy is the mind, right? Not that there's not, therapy is very useful and there's a place for it, but when you just work with the mind, the soul, the spirit, and the body are not healing. And our body at a molecular level remembers trauma. It is in your cells, it's in your DNA. So that's why often, right around a certain time, it'll all come back up because your body physically remembers. And so I work a lot with that, clearing that out of the DNA. So I do a lot of DNA activations. I have 9 different ones that I work with, and clear out the trauma out of just the body and out of those subtle bodies.
Now you work one-on-one, and you actually work remote virtually with people as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yep.
I did have a question. What is J seal removal? Does this have something to do with
Yeah.
trauma also as well?
Okay. Yeah. So this one goes into our incarnation on Earth because we are light beings. Okay. So if we just came to Earth and we hadn't set up these structures, devices, J seals, things like that, and I'll get into that here in a sec, we would just wake up and be little Buddhas from birth. We would know everything, understand everything, and we come here to play the game of separation. We want to come here and experience what we would, bad, the good, the ugly, everything, because our soul craves evolution. And so when we come here, we incarnate with a soul contract that says we will take on certain energetic blockages, devices, structures, and things that either will coincide with our karma that we have to pay, or to keep us in the low density frequency so that we don't just awaken spontaneously early on. J seals are energetic blockages on the left side of the body that basically hold your frequency in a low density. So the first step I always go through when you start wanting to do real quantum healing with me is I remove the J seals. This also removes, that same session, we removed implants and tags that your soul has picked up along all your incarnations, all across time and space. And we remove all those as well so that we can start with a clean slate, if you will. So you'll have a wake up of psychic abilities. Often a side effect that people experience is they'll sweat at night, might have to go to the bathroom more, runny nose, because your body is actually ridding itself of those implants that are in your etheric field. So yeah, that's actually the first thing I do is remove J seals, and then before I'd even start doing DNA activating or light body activating.
That's interesting, and people do need to realize the power and the grip that the past has on us in different ways, and that clearing it out is so necessary, and that helps. It helps. It's like unclogging a bad plumbing, clog in a pipe. There's some of the water's getting through, but it's not flowing properly, and all this junk is just clogging up the system. And some people don't even realize how sick they are until we remove some of this and get to it, and access it. So if someone comes to you, what's your method? What do people need to know? They want to explore and really find out, okay, I'm ready to really take these extra steps, find out. Some people are still searching to find who they are. I think that through these modalities that you use, people are able to tap into their true self and tap into what needs to be fixed for them, cleared up, accessed. What's kind of the course of action when people come to you initially? What's your process?
Initially I have a consultation with all of my clients because there is no one size fits all. Especially when you talk about awakening and ascension, because all of our soul blueprints are different, and our purposes and our path are all going to be slightly different. And of course, what our experiences here on Earth have been. I work a lot with women who have gone through sexual trauma. There's a specific modality I work with called Metronia and Metatrea, and it's the divine masculine and divine feminine energy of Metatron, or Archangel Metatron. And that one is really good because it clears with divine light source anything that was like physically attached from like any kind of physical trauma. So, and then it balances our feminine, masculine energies, because we all have feminine and masculine energy, and it's finding the balance between the two. If you're overly masculine, you're hyper independent, you don't rely on people. And then, if you're a little more on the feminine side, you don't want to take risks, you don't want to step out on your own, things like that. It can stall over your growth. So it really just varies on what their story is, their experiences, and what they're overall trying to obtain. Not everybody is not willing, but ready to jump full in to an awakening process. It's I tell people, I'm like, like light body activations, I have a big disclaimer before I even start. I'm like, you can't go back. Like when I start, so I do spiritual surgery in the quantum field. So I remove devices and things from your etheric field or subtle body, or depending on where I'm working with what session. But you have etheric crystals, you have structures and devices, you have keepers, you have nephilim, all these things attached to you that came in with your soul contract. But once those things start to be removed, it can be really, really intense. I have a particular girl that just went through her light body activations, and she has done an amazing job, but she is also starting to see spirits. She's starting to sense energy that's really overwhelming. And so I coach with her now. I don't just go, here you go. I work with you so that you can harness and integrate those energies. But yeah, so it really just kind of depends on what people want to do or what their overall goal in ascending is. Not everybody wants to awaken. Some people fear it because humans crave consistency. That's tribe. You see it all through history. But some of us came here to basically break that wheel and to awaken us back to our divinity. And so, some people just feel really compelled. I mean, I was like, I in 2023, I had a Kundalini awakening, like spontaneous. I didn't know what was going on with that. I ended up working with shamans and figured it out. But I knew then, like, there was no, because I was trying to kind of avoid my path a little. I was still learning and still going on, but I hadn't fully like hit the wall yet, if that makes sense. But that was really what sent me over. Like, this is my path. It's funny because people are like, well, you think you might want to do something else? I'm like, no, there's no more option. I know this is what I'm meant to do.
The fascinating part behind all of this is that this is ancient wisdom that has existed for thousands and thousands of years, and we knew this once before.
Yes.
And we functioned and operated in this awakened state so many years ago. So now it's like when I discover something, it's like, oh, we're created to live 1,000 years, yet people are dying at 70, 80, 90 years. But this body was perfect in every form.
Yeah, it still is. It still is. We can still regenerate,
Right. And reverse a lot of things and heal and replenish and just it just amazes me. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I'm excited you're on the show, because people kind of get a little insight. You can watch YouTube videos, but being able to actually hear from someone who's had an experience and then helps others, guides them through this as well is very special. And you're part of someone's journey. That's a very special and intimate part of their life and their experience. So
yes.
I was getting back to was you do have to study and go through a certain amount of training. Will you tell us a little bit about that so that people understand that, so there's some that are really skeptical, and they need to understand that there's a lot of science and a lot of work that you've done to prepare for this kind of work that you do.
Yes. I've done an extensive amount of training. In fact, I spent basically 5 years nose to the grindstone studying this. Now, a lot of things can be taught, but a lot of things also are intuitive. And the thing that I really want your viewers to really know is that anybody can do this. There's no gatekeeping here. Now, with spiritual surgery, things like that can get a little bit more intense and more, you need to know a lot more about it. But healing yourself and even healing others, quantum touch, all those things are absolutely real, and anyone can do that. And I really want people to know that, because if more people knew that they could heal themselves or heal others, it would be a big help for all of us. I try to stay away from religion, but one thing that I always tell people, like, Jesus healed by touch, but he didn't tell us that only he could do it. He was here to show, he was a way shower. He was here to show us that we are all Christ. We are all connected. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no separation. So why would we believe that he would be separate or different than we are? We are all sparks of God. God is within you. It's not something outside of you. It's not something you have to seek. I tell people, I'm like, the only way out is in. Like, you have to go in and you will find all the answers. And I'm really glad that you said something about, the ancients knowing this. So one of the things that happened when I came back is I understood quantum physics. Like which is weird because I think I might have failed high school science, but I understood physics. And one of the cool things and physics is catching up. And so all of this is starting to be backed up by science. Now, quantum entanglement. Do you know what quantum entanglement is?
No.
Okay, so it's if you take two photons and they become entangled or smash them together. This is what they're doing with that collider in Sweden. And they become entangled, and you separated them through time and space across the galaxy. They would still mirror each other. Okay, and so that was actually the Nobel Prize of 2022. They proved that. I told my mom, I was like, they just proved soulmates exist. My mom, of course, is like, I'm not sure where you got that from. But they later took a picture later in the year, in 2023, of a quantum entangled photon, and it is the yin yang symbol.
Wow.
So ancients did know these things. So it's not like I'm teaching people things that are like this was forgotten. Go to Atlantis, start looking at ancient civilizations. Often the people that are on the awakening path are descendants of the Atlanteans. That's why we're back at this time, because we are in a massive change in society. And we know how pivotal this can go, because what happened in Atlantis is very much being mirrored now. People of power trying to take over. The power structure has completely come off scales. Technology is getting more dangerous. People are very self-serving. So a lot of the incarnates right now are here to try and stop that from happening again. So yeah, that is very cool that you mentioned that the ancients knew, because it's all over the pyramids. It's all over Easter Island. It's all over, the Mayans had all this information. So yeah,
So it's nothing new, folks. This has been around a long time, but this is your time now to really tap in and
yes,
and explore and discover. It may not be for everyone, but there's still something for everyone in all of this.
Yeah, one thing I'll kind of lean in on is, if you think of yourself as a battery, right? Because you have a chakra system, and I'm assuming most people know what their chakra is, but you have 7 main ones, and energy flows through those chakras out the crown, and then you have an etheric field, which is about 6 feet around you, and then it pours down into your earth chakra. This is why grounding is so important. Getting your feet in the dirt, that keeps your battery moving. But all those emotions and all those things that we keep and we don't work through bounces all over your etheric field and just keeps bouncing and coming back at you, because the energy isn't being cleared. And that's why people get sick a lot. It's not that, I haven't been sick in a very long time, and I used to be sick all the time. Like, I think I wouldn't even be able to eat, or it was awful. But all that's in your etheric field. And to kind of prove to everybody that you do have an etheric field, if you ever think back of one time where you're like, oh, I don't like them in my bubble. Well, what's your bubble? It's your etheric field, because you can sense people's energy. You can sense their vibration. You can sense their frequency. That's why some people have you ever noticed you really like someone, you sit really close to them because you want them in your etheric field. So yeah, just those little things. You're an electromagnetic field all of your own. Your heart is actually the strongest electromagnetic field. That's why the heart is the first organ that is made in vitro. That is basically a beacon. So, when you're really sad, have you ever had a friend that was just really sad? You pick up your phone, like, what's going on? It's because their heart sends out a message through the quantum field. So yeah, people are so much more powerful than they even realize. And, if they just believe, like, that's how manifestation, I do coaching with manifestation, and it starts with an idea, right? The mind is the creator of the idea, but it's the heart that sends it out and brings it back in, because that's the electromagnetic field. So that's why I tell my clients, I'm like, think about it, feel it like it's already yours, feel it like it's been delivered to you, and live your life like that. Feel it in your heart and it will become yours. um yeah, so
And it's, it's like, where do you begin? There's so many depths and so many layers
mhm,
to all of this. And we want people to know this is a very approachable thing to
mhm,
to to begin. And every journey's for everyone is different, and just know
yeah,
that, something that I want folks to know too, when you're working with a healer such as yourself, um, this is a safe, it's meant to be a safe environment. It's done in a safe
mhm,
space, in a safe way, so that, you're not alone, and you're in good hands, so to speak.
yeah, yeah. And I tell a lot of my clients, I'm like, honestly, I'm yes, I'm a healer, but a healer, I don't heal you. You heal you. I am a facilitator. I hold the space, So I go through a lot of attunements to do the things that I do, working with the, archangels and the ETs and things. So I've been attuned to a lot of things, but it's only so that I can harness that frequency and energy here in the earth plane. Everyone can heal themselves. So I tell everyone, I'm like, my ultimate goal as working with someone is, I hope I lose you as a client, because you have learned that you don't need me, that you are absolutely capable of doing all of this for yourself, that you can heal yourself if you believe you can, if you actively make a plan to get out of the old pattern. Because that's what happens, is we fall back into those old patterns. We let that old story come bubbling up, and it will come bubbling up, absolutely. But
Mhm.
it's what we do then. Do you change, pivot to this new person that you believe and want to be, or do you let that kind of pull you back? And that's, I think, where a lot of people get stuck, because again, humans like consistency. We don't like change. So we crave this new existence and this new person, this new, that's why people say people can't change. Well, they can. They just tend to fall back into that pattern, and it absolutely can be severed.
Takes a little effort. And when I was doing a little poking around and reading, some of these therapies and modes that you use help us access our subconscious mind, which is where
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our programming happens. So
Mm-hmm.
we can reprogram that and
Absolutely.
change habits, and all of these things can turn around. And what's what's your advice to folks? Part of your mission that I read is about bringing people to a shared consciousness, higher
Mm-hmm.
consciousness. But you being a guide to people raising their awareness, and there's strength in numbers, obviously. So when
Mm-hmm.
we have
Yep.
many of us that share the same goals for the universe, for the world, for other humans, um, what's the most important thing you want people to know about, not just about what you do, but about kind of where we need to be as human beings? Because I think this is really a conversation about us as beings.
Yeah, it is. So I'll try to make this short and sweet. Is that every interaction that you have, doesn't matter what the interaction is, someone you meet at the gas station, your mother, whoever, whatever it is a mirror of an interaction that your soul has called into your frequency to help you ascend. So every interaction has some kind of form of lesson or even synchronicity or sign. It all matters. And if you really start to look at, like, even your past relationships, say you have like a bunch of really bad relationships, what could you have learned, from that? And it's about shifting the mind from things like, why does this keep happening to me, to what can I learn from this? What am I, why did I choose this? I always kind of get drawn to this scene from The Matrix, when he's talking to the Oracle on the bench, and she offers him that piece of candy, and he's like, do you know if I'm going to take it? And she says, well, I wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't. And he said, so I don't have a choice. She says, you didn't come here to make the choice, you've already made it. You're here to ask, or to figure out why you made the choice. And that's talking about our soul path and our soul journey. We've already decided the experience, well, at least the path that we were going to be on in this lifetime. Even when I had my near death experience, they told me I had an exit clause at that time, that I could go home at that point, but that if I came back, I had to get on my path and that it was going to start being laid out. So everything is something that can be researched, learned, and used in your repertoire of tools to help you heal. That's what shadow work really is. It's looking back at things that may have been unfortunate or painful, and looking at it from a loving place and shining a light onto it and being like, what came out of that made me the person I am today? Or, I'm a very loving, compassionate person. I probably wouldn't have been that way had I not had this childhood, or whatever it is. There's always a light within every darkness. And so I would really, press on people to really just start doing a lot of self-awareness work. Be really graceful with yourself. That's a big one I find, is that people are way too mean to themselves. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. Every interaction has, a good and a bad side. And it's no longer allowing that to be the story or the narrative for your life, And as far as collective, we are not separate. And that's why I say when we call in, when we mirror each other, or mirror these, that person also called you into their experience. And I also tell people, I'm like, I recently went through kind of a breakup type thing. And I realized that interaction might not have been fully about me and my healing. Sometimes people call you in because they need your spirit to help them to get on their path of healing, and so I hold space for people like that, not even just in that kind of breakup situation, but in the world. I will hold space. Yes, it might hurt you because, maybe somebody betrays you or anything, but sometimes if you just lean in more on compassion of their spirit is learning something here, and I just happen to be here for it, it makes things a lot easier when you kind of give that grace to not only yourself, but to others.
And what's the best way you want people to reach out to you? Do you want them to visit your website? Is it lightandbreezycoaching.net?
No, it's .com. I have two right now, so either one of those you'll find me, but I'm merging over to lightandbreezycoaching.com. And then you can also reach me on my Instagram, which is lightandbreezy1111, which is a great place if you want to kind of follow along. I'm posting things constantly about, I do astrology as well. So I post different transits or returns or, full moon rituals, whatever, whatever they send to me to give the collective. But yeah, you can definitely find me there. And then Facebook, Light and Breezy also.
And I have another question for you.
Yeah.
The name of our show is called Mental Margarita.
Yes.
And it's
Which
really,
I think is very clever. I love that.
it's fun.
Yes.
It means something different to everyone. So we ask everyone that comes on the show, because it could be your passion, it could be your something that you do to get away or find center. So your mental margarita, it's something different to everybody. Their mental margarita could be binge watching Netflix, or soaking in a hot tub, it could be, or reading a book. So what's your mental margarita? How do you kind of get away from it all if you feel you need to, or just kind of just indulge?
Yeah, I mean, I meditate twice a day, so I think that's really I would say that's my relax and coming back to center. I have a Challenger for a car, so I sometimes just like to go out and drive and blast my music. I guess that would probably be my most frivolous thing I do for myself. Yeah, but I do a lot of practice of mindfulness, so that's a lot of what I do. Everything is intentional with me, so.
That's great. And we want the audience to, reach out there's a lot that you can learn from Bhreanna. There's a lot
Yeah.
that you can discover, and she's definitely your guide to finding your path, whether you're looking or not looking. Sometimes
Yeah.
things are found when we're not even searching. They're just brought to
Yeah.
light.
I do have a newsletter sign up on my website, and that's another place where I will send kind of more, that's more where I get like my channeled messages for the collective. I will put on there. So, you may not be ready to take the steps, and you'll know when you're ready to go into the awakening path. But just getting some clarity, a lot of energies, full moons, we know full moons make you the lunatics, right? Well, there's a lot more that affects our energy fields, and especially your astrological chart is all different, but we have conjunctions and transits and all kinds of things. So I try to keep people updated on what's kind of could be affecting them on a personal level as a collective.
And that's good to know because there's stuff happening. Everybody's so busy doing so many different things that
Yeah.
we're glad you're keeping track for us because
Yeah.
there's it's a lot to know. So that's a great resource to tap into. Thank you for sharing that. And is there anything that you're working on, like that's maybe coming up that we maybe need to keep an eye out for? That
Yeah. Yeah, so I just finished writing my first, well, I have a workbook that's on Amazon, and that helps people with, I kind of attune it to, like, remember highlights when we were kids and it was just easy, fun
Yes.
little, it's kind of like that, but for your everyday health, mental, different things that can help you with, your exercise routine to, I have like a yin and yang technique in there to help you find balance in any situation you're facing. I just finished my book on transcendental spiritualism. That will be on Amazon here shortly. And then I have a YouTube channel that is up. I haven't fully kicked that off yet, but I will be here in the next couple weeks. So that's also at Light and Breezy. So
Great. Well, we'll make sure the audience knows how to reach you, how to follow
yeah,
you, and stay
yeah,
in touch. And
yeah.
we'll check in with you for any updates too. And that's exciting. As soon as your book comes out, make sure we know about it so that we can let everybody else share that with them as well.
Yeah, yeah. And if your viewers want to look on Amazon, Light and Breezy, it's Awaken Your Potential. So you can grab your workbook right there. And yeah, I'm very happy I was able to come on the show with you today. And you have a very wonderful energy about you. I was going to say it when we first started, but then we got going. And
Oh, thank you. And it's been a pleasure to have you on the show as well. Shout out to Ria Roma for making
oh,
this
yes.
introduction and bringing you to
Yeah.
us.
Yes,
So
yes.
we thank you for that. And thank you for mentioning highlights. That used to be like the only way I could tell her to go into the doctor's office was because there was a
Yes.
highlights magazine.
I was trying to explain that to my daughter, and I said the Highlights magazine. She just like glossed over. I'm like, do they not have those anymore? They don't though. I checked when I was there last. I was like, oh, they don't have them anymore. Now everybody's on their phones.
No, there's a lot of fun things to reminisce from growing up and before internet, before YouTube, before all of these things, and we were a lot more imaginative in those days too. So it's nice to
Yeah,
be able
it.
to
Yeah.
return to that place over and over
Yeah, my
again.
17-year-old just said to me, I asked her, I was like, if you could go back in time if you had a state or a time machine, could go any time. And I was like, when would you go? And she's like the time when you were growing up. And I'm like, the
Mm.
80s? You picked the 80s? And she's like, yeah, because it sounds fascinating to grow up in the way that you guys did, being outside and no phone and like, so I guess I hadn't really thought about it in that way, but yeah, it's kind of fun when your kids like, I don't want to be with our phones all the time and you know
I
I
think
actually
that
am partnered with a company that's international. It's called the Schumann, actually the Schumann.com. You can go there, but they make EMF protectors, and then they have different frequencies you can program in. And um, so I have this EMF protector because I think phone technology, we've got to really protect ourselves from those frequencies that are coming off of those. I can hear my TV even when it's not on buzzing because I can hear frequencies really well. these 5G towers, all that stuff. So yeah, if you guys get EMF protectors would be good. It's good for, that's why we all have so much anxiety, is those frequencies from those phones are off the charts bad for your battery. So
that's good to know. So what was the name of that website again?
yeah, it's theschumann.com. So it's SCHUMANN.com. And if you put the code Breezy in at the promo, you'll get 12% off as well. Those things are amazing. I actually have two. I have one in my office, one at my house, and the programmable one, this is a lot of fun. I tested it when I first got my first one, and you can set it for like the theta brainwaves. So we have 5 brainwaves, and the theta is like where you start to kind of relax and start getting into sleep phase. So when I first got it, I started programming it at 5 o'clock, setting it to it. And my kids, who are 11 and 17, were both in bed by 8 o'clock every night that I set this thing to that frequency. And so I don't have to tell them to go to bed. Like, you can just naturally start walking brain waves down. It's and it helps with like the EMF as well. So all the phones, and it's 250 square feet. So one will, take up a lot of your home.
That's great to know, because people aren't resting enough. They're not,
Oh,
resting
yeah.
and refreshing and all that goes with that. So that's
Yeah.
great advice. Thanks for mentioning that. I'm gonna check that out now, because I don't know enough about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and
So
it comes with a really nice guide. So it's not, it's 0 to 1,000 hertz is the frequency of it's the V2 is the programmable one, but they have a whole really nice guide to tell you what exactly each frequency will help with what. There's even great ones for like manifestation, if you're trying to manifest a certain outcome, or if you're trying to manifest love or abundance or whatever. That definitely will help too, keeping that in your field. I'm going to sound like I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here a little bit, but, they took away lead paint out of our walls, and people say, oh, we're being poisoned. Well, we're being poisoned in our food. So is that really why? But I thoroughly believe that it's because lead bounces off frequencies, and all of these towers and all the frequencies that are in the atmosphere would stay away from you. And there's a lot of proof that frequencies can be used as a weapon. And there is definitely a rise of depression, insomnia, anxiety, all of these emotions. And so that's why I'm like, these EMF protectors help a lot with keeping that at bay. I sleep through the night a lot better. When I have mine on, I actually can tell a difference. So yeah.
That's fascinating. We're gonna have to save the frequency conversation for another time, because
yes,
you're right.
I'm actually getting my PhD in frequency healing, so that's my ultimate goal. Because I want to have that credential so that I can have these conversations where people know it's not just some woo woo, and it's not woo woo, but there's still the doubters and the non-believers. And so I'm in Canada, they're growing teeth in people's mouths using frequency. This is not sci-fi. This is not in the distant future. This is happening now. And, there are so many things you can use frequency for. Energy,
I've seen them,
physical healing.
I watched them put out a fire.
Yeah, with that sonic frequency. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
there's the applications are endless. There's a guy in Seattle that built like a temple in his backyard using sound frequency. There, I don't know. I'm on the fence about how some of these megalithic structures were created, but I definitely know they use sound frequency to move some of those stones, in some of those megalithic structures. So research frequency healing, guys. Seriously, if you guys want to do yourself a favor, look into it. Check what different frequencies you can use. 639 for the heart. There's 963 for the crown chakras. If you want to connect to your angels, ancestor guides, 963 will help you to make that connection to your higher self, source, or God, or whatever you call it, creator. But yeah, so frequencies are very, very powerful.
Wow, we'll have to tune in for that update with you when that all comes to be. So
yes, for sure.
Bhreanna, thank you so much.
Thank
Light
you.
and Light and Breezy Coaching. We're so glad that you joined us today, and we had a great visit and learned so much from you.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Thank you for having this experience with me, co-creating.
we're so glad you're with us, and we have some very special things to talk about today, and talk about some of the wonderful work that you're doing. Now, you're hailing from New Mexico, is that right?
From Colorado, but we moved to New Mexico a little over 7 years ago. So that's where we are today.
That's definitely a change.
Let me tell you. I won't go into details, but yes, I miss my home state, but we moved down here to be able to get some land. It was just unaffordable for us back home anymore.
So you traveled with all of your puppies as well, is that right?
No,
They
we
came
don't
with
travel.
you?
Oh, well, yes, of course. Yes, that was part of we had to find a way to stretch our dollar. And property was a lot less expensive in New Mexico than in Colorado. So I sold my childhood home that I had prior to rescue. I had remodeled it and intended to retire it. But I kind of took a little bit of a detour. The road took me to rescue, and that became the priority. So,
and you do some amazing work. We're going to go into more detail about that with the animals that you rescue, from taking care of their vet costs, their transportation. A lot of them, this is the end of the road for them because they've been put out of their homes due to being senior pets, pets with disabilities and medical issues. And, it's unfortunate because our pets are part of the family, and they spend many, many years with us from the time they're young to as they age. And for them to be displaced at a later stage in life is just heartbreaking. And then facing death, euthanization, and or worse, being out in the elements. So, it's wonderful that you have this rescue. We're gonna talk more about what your needs are and what we can share with the audience in ways that they can help you. So how did this all come about? Because it always starts with one that starts this journey. So tell us a little bit about how this all came to be.
Well, there's actually two that kind of led me in the direction I ended up taking. My father passed away in 2004, and a real hard time with it. Completely depressed. Was dating a guy, and he went out and bought a chocolate lab. The puppy was not for me, it was for him. However, that dog brought me back from complete despair, depression, and I really don't know if I'd have made it through without Hank. So I ended up keeping Hank when the relationship ended. And then I just kind of, I started volunteering because I just felt like I owed a lot to the canine population because of what Hank did for me. And then I found on my way home from work one night, I was driving down a very busy street in Denver, and there was a pit bull running around, almost getting hit by cars. So I stopped my car in the middle of the road and guided this pit bull out of the street. He was in Denver. It was during BSL, which is breed specific legislation. Had he been caught by code, by animal control, he would have been euthanized immediately because that was their policy.
Right.
There were no pit bulls allowed in Denver, Colorado.
Mm.
So I got Slater out of the road, found out where he belonged. Turns out he had been abandoned by the person that had him. So he was living under the skirt of a trailer, being fed scraps by the other people that worked at this place. It was kind of a warehouse, industrial type place with different businesses there. And the guy that abandoned Slater had lost his lease and just left Slater.
Mm.
So after working with 2 different shelters and a rescue with Slater, Slater was being trained to be a guard dog. So he had a lot of issues with, he wasn't actually human aggressive, but he could be in his territory. You know what I mean? It's what he was being trained. But he was a real
Right.
sweet, believe it or not, when he didn't perceive a threat.
Mhm.
So after having him with 2 different shelters and a rescue that all 3 were going to end up euthanizing him, I just bit the bullet, paid for training, brought him home, and I just lost Slater. He was with me till he was over 16 years old.
Wow.
I found him when he was a year old. So through all that, I was volunteering, and I saw the despair, the sadness with all these senior dogs being dumped at the shelter or left for dead, like you said, on the streets.
Mhm.
So that's where the journey began.
A lot of these animals that you take in, you are able to find some foster and adoptive homes for them. Is that right?
I used to adopt out or do a program that was a forever foster program, because the problem is with these seniors is that their medical care is extensive. And a lot of people just aren't willing to bring in a dog that may only end up having a year or 2 with them
Mhm.
and put such an expense, into them as far as medical care, the time it takes, because a lot of them, some are blind and they need some guidance when they're going outside. They need guidance on their walks. They even sometimes to be guided around the house, depending. They get confused every now and then, no matter how well they know the pattern and the layout of the
Right.
land. They get confused. But so after working with lots of people that were forever fosters or adopters, I had many, many issues where no matter how well I thought I vetted the people, I'd get calls at midnight saying, I can't take it anymore. You got to come get this dog.
Mm.
I love it, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. They pee in the house, or they spill the water bowl because they can't see it, and I'm cleaning up water all day, or just on and on. Or some, like, if they need insulin twice a day, then the people's schedules would be hindered because they'd have to be around to give the insulin at the same time twice a day, feed them at the same time, things like that. So at that point, I said, I'm just going to become a sanctuary. Then I don't have to scramble at the last minute trying to find somewhere when somebody decides that they no longer want to take care of one of these dogs.
Right.
And it's just good. It's on me, and they're here, and I can only take care of as many as I can take care of. But I figured at least that way, it opens up homes for other more adoptable dogs.
What is your biggest need? What do you want people to, if they want to reach out and help? Because there's a lot of folks that do want to support a rescue such as yours, but they need to know what you need too. If there's certain special food, special diet, they can order you a box from Chewy and send it to you. If there's different ways that they can help. What's your greatest need that you maybe don't always have them, that you would like more of?
Well, obviously money. Because to house them, feed them, vet them it's substantial. It's costs me about $3,500 a month to keep this place going.
Mm.
And that's without any emergency vet care or anything like that. That's just if there's a routine vet visit or something, you know. I have several dogs though on different diets, and we do have a chewy wish list. And I cook for them mostly. Because at least that way I know what's going in.
Right.
Since their food, since we are on a limited budget, I can't afford to buy them the best production type food. So in cooking for them, I am assured I know what's going in it. I can put supplements in it that they need. And so, yeah, I do a lot of cooking for these silly guys. But then there are a few that are on special diets because of kidney failure, or like I have one girl who's got stones, you know, urine stones. And some of the diabetic dogs have to have a little bit different diet for their diabetes. They have to have a low phosphorus diet, such. We are open to anybody that's willing to help these old dogs. Right, Homer?
So what's Homer's favorite thing that you make for him?
Homer loves it's boiled chicken, and I still do feed the dogs meat. I don't eat it. I haven't since, oh gosh, I don't even, 2007. But for the pups, you know, I haven't found a vegan diet for them yet that I'm confident that they'll get everything they need so far. But anyway, it's Homer likes boiled chicken with sweet potato, a little bit of rice, spinach, peas, turmeric, parsley, and sometimes squash. Just depends on what I have on hand. But they love their home cooking. When I don't have time and I have to give them like kibble with wet food on top, because I never just give them kibble. I just can't bring myself to do it to these seniors. But when I have to give them kibble, I soften the kibble with broth or water, and then I put the soft food on, and you should see the looks I get when I put it down for them, you know?
Say, where's the real stuff, Mom?
Yeah, exactly.
How many do you have with you now?
I currently have 22.
Wow.
That's low for us. But a year ago, a little over a year ago, I started seeing the writing on the wall, and I literally have spent everything I had taking care of them, exhausted savings, 401k. Like I said, sold the house in Colorado. So I put off intake because, you know, I just can't, I can't do what I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But I have had up to 40 at a time. And I have enough space here. The intent was to actually bring on more dogs and get a live-in volunteer possibly, because I could actually have, you can have, where I live, you can have 12 dogs per acre. And we have a little over 7 acres, so I could literally have almost 100 dogs here.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't do that on my own.
We need everyone to pitch in and help make this happen, so that
we save a lot of these dogs. Where I'm at in New Mexico, county is it gives Texas and California a run for their money. A lot of dumping of dogs, just a lot of strays. You know, we could bring them in and show them the life they deserve at the end of their life, instead of them ending up in a shelter and being euthanized because nobody wants them, or
Right.
suffering on the streets until they're dead, by either heat stroke, starvation, thirst, being attacked by another animal. So many ugly scenarios. Probably the majority of dogs I've ever had are from California, because
Wow.
I found a lot of great networkers out there. Well, Rhea, for one, that's how we met. She fostered an old dog that we saved out of the Orange County shelter.
Yes, shout out to Rhea Roma.
Yeah, yeah. So I've had dogs come in from Georgia. If I had an open spot and there was a way to get them here, it didn't matter where they were from.
He's quite comfortable on camera.
Yeah, he's doing much better than I thought.
There's actually, for most of the interview, he was like looking right into the screen. So this was great for for the interview. So we're so grateful that you're doing this work. Thank you. And it's quite a commitment.
I really wouldn't know. I didn't intend. I truly didn't intend for this to be my life's work, but not long after getting into it, I didn't see any other path. I just didn't. There's such a need, and I can't stand the thought of one of them suffering. And I know I can't save all of them. I can't even save as many as most rescues do because of the way we are set up, but I gotta help as many as I can for as long as I can. I've had dogs come here that never lived a day. They came here at 13, 14 years old and never lived a day in a home.
Mm.
And that just tears me apart, and you should see them. Sometimes they get here and they don't want to go outside for potty because I think they're afraid they're not going to get back in.
Right.
They're like
or they experience what it feels like to be on the couch for once.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they have amazing dog beds, but yes, some of them still insist on the couch.
I had one of I grew up with dogs, and I prefer them. They are my favorite animal, and have had many that have come and gone in my lifetime and passed, and it's heartbreaking, but it's wonderful to have them in the family. And I had one that his favorite thing to do was to just rest his rear end on the couch like humans. He was tall enough to do that, but that was his thing, and he loved sleeping on it. He had to have his head on a pillow, and he had his his comforts that he really liked. And then others that enjoyed the people as a bed. They wanted to lay on top of you, and that's how they wanted to sleep. So they all have their little ways and their personalities, and they just find their way into our hearts. And we want people to embrace what you're doing, and that you need help. You can't do it alone. You got to have help from the community and help from others that maybe they don't have the schedule or the room or the space, but they can give in some kind of way to what you're doing and be able to help.
And I have a friend that she's always, oh gosh, for 6-7 years, she has sent a monthly donation. And, sometimes she sends extra, and I'll say, Jerry, you don't have to do that. And she's like, yeah, I do, because with my schedule, she's an ER doctor, and she's like, with my schedule, I can't have any, and I can't foster, and I can't, go out and feed strays. And, she's like, I just don't have time for any of it. So it's my way of helping at least a little, So, yeah.
Now, what are we looking at behind you? Is this part of your business also?
These are all the dogs I've taken care of.
So they have already passed?
Yes.
And so we're in the memorial. We're in the mausoleum, so to speak, right?
Well, yeah, they had to be. They had to be represented. I chose this spot because, yeah, I just wanted them to be represented. Some of them were with me for years, some of them only months, but there's not one I can't tell you their story or show you a million pictures or videos of, and I miss them all. So yes,
And
that's what.
it's the heartbreaking part of what you do, because you know when you take them in, we're going to have to say goodbye at some point, and that is a tough part of it. And it's never easy, but knowing that you gave them a quality of life that they wouldn't have had anywhere else unless they came to be with you is so special. Well, we're glad that you've shared what you do with us so that we can share this with others and be able to tell your story and be able to encourage people that want to help in some way, where how they can help you and be able to help an animal in need. And it feels good when we give and we're able to make a difference. And we thank you. Thank you for your commitment. This is a 24/7 type of job, and it's your life day in, day out. There's no breaks, no vacations. This is every day, folks. Every hour of the day is spent in care of these animals.
It is, and that's why I look like I look, okay? So just know, the bags under the eyes, everything, and like you were saying, I don't know how many have to sleep right on me, and not to mention the ones that are so close that I can't even move at night. So I don't even know how long it's been since I've had a good night's sleep, but it's worth it. It's worth it as long as they're happy.
Yes. And we thank our star of the show, Homer, for joining us.
Yay! Good job, homies. Let's see. Say goodbye. Don't look at me. Look at
Hey, Homer. There's Homer. There's that pup.
there.
Hey, pup. Well, thank you so much, Rita, for visiting with us and sharing what you do. And we'll make sure that everyone gets the word and they're able to reach out to you and be able to
Thank
help
you.
where you need it most.
I appreciate it very much.
And I'll leave with one last question for you. The name of our show is called Mental Margarita for a reason. It means finding your escape. We know what your passion is because it's helping dogs and helping animals in need. But what's one of your favorite things to do to just kind of get it away from it all and just kind of escape? Could be something that you like to recreate and do for fun or just to relax. So what's your go-to?
Well, it's been so long, but I love music. So back when I could, I'm one heck of a swing dancer.
Oh,
I used to love to go dancing and concerts. I used to love to go to concerts, especially in Colorado, Red Rocks. I mean, you can't beat it. So what we
wow.
do here is on Sundays and Saturdays when I clean, I blast the music and the dogs and I dance. The ones that can.
Mhm. Fun, and it's great to do housework to music, rocking out. So that's fun any day of the week. And
Absolutely.
music is therapy too. It really heals us from the inside out.
Totally. I get depressed a lot, clearly, um, doing what I do. And it doesn't take long once I turn the music on to bring me out of that funk.
Well,
So,
that's the way to do it. That's one of the ways. And then looking at those furry faces.
well, yeah,
And
and especially the ones that want to dance are up for it. Because it's great to see them so happy and playful when they can be.
they're so intuitive too, and in tune probably to how you feel, and offer so much companionship and comfort to us.
I have one girl here that is truly an emotional support dog. She's a chocolate lab mix named Hazel, and she knows before I know when I'm gonna cry or work, or you know what I mean. She truly does. And here she comes, and she doesn't let up until she knows I'm okay. She licks my face. She licks my tears. She she wants to snuggle, wants to hug me. She literally hugs. You know, she'll jump up, put her arms on my shoulders, and pull me in.
That's beautiful. And we want, you know, I want everyone to be able to experience that in their lifetime and be able to feel that love that we can get from that only an animal can give unconditionally.
Yeah. I don't know how some people haven't. I don't know how some people go through life without knowing it. You know what I mean? It always blows my mind because people just say, "Oh, I don't have pets. I don't want any pets." You know, and I just it's crazy for me to me.
Well, we thank you so much, and we'll be in touch for updates too, because we want to know how you're doing, and we want to know, you know, how things are, and we'll spread the word and make sure that everyone else knows too.
Well, you know what? I'm excited, and I think the audience should be extremely excited because LA Trench is in the house.
It's a
And
pleasure.
you know what I love? What I really love about you is I love the music. It's exciting. It feels like it, you know, music is sometimes missing that excitement. And find my way, that song.
Yeah,
Love the record. Love the
I
record.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Love that. And Tana's on there, right?
Yeah. That's a feature. That's my wife on there. That's my wife.
Man, you guys are a deadly combination.
Right. I appreciate that, Sly.
I'm loving that duo. I'm loving that duo. Well, let's talk. So, Louisiana. That is where it all started.
Of course.
Okay.
Born and
So
raised.
tell us a little bit about your childhood, growing up in Louisiana, and all that good stuff.
Be honest, childhood was great. I grew up, both my mom and father, in the house, and that helped a lot. It gave me a lot of influence, a lot of impact on my life, and just growing up. I mean, you get a chance to witness a lot of things. You grow through a lot of things, and I've had a lot of experiences that help navigate my life. I will say that.
I can imagine. From what we have heard about Louisiana, different parts that, there's from poverty, there's a lot of real
Right.
ghetto life that goes on, right?
And right now to this day, it's still happening. I'm looking to try to be impactful for my city. It's a struggle there right now. You're always dealing with love and loss on a daily basis. We've had a few instances that have happened, in our city that just looking to make a change for the younger generation.
Yes, and I love to hear that. And something going back to your experiences. So as you're growing in this environment that's has all these different traps for brothers,
Right.
and you got to try to navigate through this and not fall into these traps.
Right. And I'll be honest, I've used music to help me navigate it. A lot
Music,
of times
music.
yes, I found myself a lot of times speaking to myself or being able to navigate listening to that music. I mean, we have a lot of different musical styles out there, but it's about how you intake it to how it affects your life. And when I do
Right,
my music, I use my music to guide me. Hopefully it can guide someone else.
right. Because I was just going to ask you that. What was something that kept you on the right path? So it was definitely music.
Music was a big part of it. I also had my father in my corner. He's lived those streets, he's walked those different lines. So we've talked about a lot of that. So when I was able to witness it firsthand, I already kind of had an up on it to decide, like, hey, is that the way I want to go? You know,
Yeah.
just forward thinking, like, okay, there's consequences behind actions. If I make this move, am I satisfied with the results? You know,
Right.
it gave me that logic, and it helped me along the way.
Having a father figure is
Yes,
so important,
very.
very important. And
I know it's not the typical story, but
right.
I'm grateful that I had that, that I have that.
Yeah, you're very grateful. And you're also grateful that where you're from is very rich in culture.
Yes.
So you started getting into the music at a very early age 15.
And between
So
13 and 15, me and my closest friend, we would grab 2 radios. We'd put one together. One was playing the beat, we can record the actual songs on. And that's what started it.
oh man,
And
you're
I guess
taking me back now.
it just kind of nurtured it from that point. But yeah, that was the beginning.
And what were some of the artists that were inspirational to you?
When you're talking about art form and business, I was started with a Louisiana native. You have Master P, of course, but artists like KRS-One, Rakim, I jam
Ooh,
Nas, Jay-Z, Jada Kiss. I mean, I have a whole list of them that represent the art form itself, and it's taken
wow.
part of me
That's so funny because the names that you're mentioning, uh, unbelievable. I mean, part of my DNA.
for sure.
And so you start doing your thing, you're recording, you're in this like homemade kind of studio. Tell
Yeah,
us
it's
about that
always started out.
experience.
Right. It's always started out makeshift, either it was in a closet, you put a microphone in a closet, it's
Right,
hot, you're sweating, but it was a place for you to record, or the mic's in the middle of the room and it's adapted from different forms to where now I have my own setup at home to where I can kind of section it off like I want it. It's a little more relaxed, a little comfortable. So I've seen it from a lot of different ways,
right.
but it's great.
I can imagine. And you learned so much during the process of it all.
Of course, of course. I mean, I guess in a sense, you adapt and overcome. And as you grow, your style grows along with you, and you take a little bit from here, take a little bit from there, and you create it into your own.
And your own is something that's very unique. But what I really love about your music too is that you depict some of the things that you've gone through, your personal experiences, real life stuff. Is that something that you feel proud of?
That's something that I carry with me, no matter what. I, I guess I could speak and say in a grateful sense, I'm grateful for every bit of it because it's a part of what made me, a part of
Yeah.
what's making me. So no regrets.
No regrets whatsoever.
Say everything happens for a reason. I embrace the reasons for each season.
Oh, that's a bar. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a bar right there. And speaking of bars, mixtape. So you got in the mixtape thing.
Yeah, I've been doing mixtapes as far as released on a worldwide platform, non-released, just local from city to state. I drive big trucks. So, when I go from state to state, I'm either dropping off something here, dropping off something there, for people to listen to. This is my first actual album that I'm about to put together to release to the world. So it's a working process. As I get time, I try to make sure I put everything together, but it takes time.
It definitely takes time. And
Yeah.
how is that lifestyle? We're gonna get to the album soon, but that lifestyle of if you driving big trucks and you're promoting yourself in the music thing, I mean that has its advantages because you're going from different cities. So are you able to network that kind of way?
Sometime the timing permit, it doesn't permit it, because
Right.
that's a major factor with time. See, the
Yeah,
wheels got to keep rolling, but every chance that I do get, I try to make sure I interact.
that is cool. And I don't know. I think that, from a marketing standpoint, it's so cool. It would be so cool if you make sure that you let the audience know that this is a lifestyle that you do as well, because I think, I don't know, there's something there. There's something really cool
No,
about it.
I feel it too. But at a lot of times I let work be work and I just focus on that part. But
Yeah.
I feel it too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of truckers out there. And you know what? I can see a lot of truckers out there listening to your music. So maybe that's what I'm talking about.
That's
Maybe we got to
that's
do
the
a trucker
avenue.
anthem.
Yes. Yes. You're right.
Now let's talk about the album. I Am.
As I am. Yes.
I like the title, man.
For sure. And I'm working on it, to try to cover a lot of aspects of me, things that made me, things that we all may go through.
That's a great title.
To
Very
find
great
our
title.
way.
So how close are you done with this project?
I would say I'm about halfway through now, a little more than halfway through, but still just making sure I line out the right things. And the
Okay.
message is correct.
Right. The message has got to be correct. Now, is Find My Way, is that going to be on this album?
Yes, it is.
That's
Find my way.
That's
Find
my
my
jam.
way.
That's my jam right there. And you and your wife, is she going to be on other songs besides this one?
I'm working on it. That's my biggest support right there.
Wow, that's beautiful.
For sure.
So maybe a reality show in the future, if you got.
Try to cut the cameras, but she loves the camera, so it may be something to look into if it's done the right way.
Now let's talk about the shows, the live performances. Are you planning on going on tour and doing some of those things?
The sky's the limit. It's just trying to prep everything to make sure everything is ready to reach everyone well.
We got to get you out to Vegas.
It'd be perfect. She's looking for another trip out there. We've been out there once or twice. Well, I go a lot, but she's looking for another trip.
Yeah, I think you guys would really enjoy that.
For sure.
I think that would be good. So with that said, with the album coming out, possible tour, how do they get in contact with LA Trench?
You can always reach me on Facebook. That's a guarantee. If they hit the inbox or anything, I can leave a number somewhere if need be, but always Facebook or Instagram, any of the socials.
Okay, I want to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. This question is something that I need to ask. If they get in contact with you, or let's say there's a major label that might be interested in some of the music that you have out there, is that a direction that you would like to go, or would you rather stay independent?
I love the independent lifestyle, but I also we can speak about those we can talk about it. I'm open.
I'll keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, LA Trench is in the building. And LA, I want to ask you one more question. What is your mental margarita, meaning when you're not doing music or you're not doing your job, because I already know that's a given. What is something that you use to escape?
Take a second. I take 3 deep breaths, in and out, in and out. I exhale, and I'm there.
I'm feeling you, man.
For sure.
I am feeling you 100%, man. It's great to have you on the show, my brother.
And I appreciate you, Sly.
I'll see you soon.
Sure. One love.
One love. Be safe on the road.
I really hope you find your way.
Box full of puzzle pieces and all the reasons. Whether it was just a phase or just a season, a figment of your imagination, but it was needed. Like knowing where you wanna be, but you can't see it. Like it ain't no way. The journey ahead is a path made by you. Make your own and you can leave a trail, yeah. Not everybody's got to know, nope. Not everybody's got to go, nope. But you got to hold it in the road, yeah. Got to keep it in control, yeah. When you willing it, who knows best? I'm looking up before I even go. See what's for real is for show, yeah. When you start to notice it, then you should say less. When you know you notice it, then you can say that. Too many notices, I'm trying to find my own way back. Kinda funny that I say that while I'm working on my way back.
Your way. Just a girl from around the way. I can hear what you trying to say. Maybe 1 or 2 times might have crossed your mind, but I really hope you find your way. Just a girl from around the way. I can hear what you trying to say. Maybe 1 or 2 times might have crossed my mind, but I really hope you find your way. Till the day you pull up, I'm gonna miss you, baby. Boy, you know you drive me crazy. I wanna be around whenever you around, ayy. I know you're gonna hold me down, ayy. You stole my heart, I felt your soul. You stole my heart, I never felt like this before. You got me going like all the way. You got me going like all the way. So tell me, what am I, or what it's all about? Forever you and I know I can't deny. I feel it so alive. You stole my heart, I felt your soul. You stole my heart, I never felt like this before. I really hope you find your way. Just a girl from around the way. I can hear what you trying to say. Maybe 1 or 2 times might have crossed your mind, but I really hope you find your way. Just a girl from around the way. I can hear what you trying to say. Maybe 1 or 2 times might have crossed my mind, but I really hope you find your way.
Never treated her bad, always treated her good. Always talked about love, I knew one day I would. Had some early complications that was understood. Never meant to steal her heart, I did all I should. Had to take a chance on it, so I took a flight, knowing it's only gonna work out when we can start right. I got a pass, she got a pass, but we know about it. Turn the 2 into a 1 when we for sure about it. When the flow is natural, we can hop in the boat. No need for pedaling when we can see where it lead to. I'm trying to lead you like I wanna need you, like you wanna need me. Let's make this look easy. Look, if this is the real thing, when life is the real game that we playing for keeps. Taking steps like an elephant, I just took me a leap. Now I'm packing my bags, back on my feet, hop in the whip. I know she
really
ready
hope
for
you
me.
Find your way. Just a girl from around the way. I can hear what you trying to say. Maybe 1 or 2 times might have crossed your mind, but I really hope you find your way. Just a girl from around the way. I can hear what you trying to say. Maybe 1 or 2 times might have crossed my mind, but I really hope you find your way.
Attention business owners, get your messages to Pahrump and Nye County by advertising with KNYE 95.1 FM, the big voice of Pahrump and Nye County. Call 775-537-6100. That's 775-537-6100.
If you're buzzed and doing this to make yourself feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive.
You're starstruck, here's a sprinkle of the stardust. Hold your champagne glass and your cigars up. See the guys with mob ties drive the cars up. Bright lights, most nights they buy the bars up. Candy coated Chevy cars on the highway. It's Frankie baby, it's on and this is my way. Dean Martin at the Sands this Friday. With Sammy Davis, here's a little hint where I stay. The city shines like Liberace's mansion. And you know Elvis had the whole city dancing. Showgirl silhouette steady prancing. Shout out to June, just the Copa Girls anthem. Legal gambling, yeah, that would tempt me. It's Sin City, holy water couldn't cleanse me. And Wayne Newton had the crowd in a frenzy. Live at the Stardust, the seats never empty.